Come on in, pull up a chair and take a load off because today I will be unboxing and taking a first look at the Pathfinder Arcane Spell Cards from Paizo Inc. Pretty interesting. There are over 200 spells in this box, and we will dive in and get our first look right after this. Howdy, 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 gang. I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. As I mentioned in the open, we are going to dive in and take a first look at the Arcane Spell Cards box set. As I mentioned, there's a little more than 200 cards, I believe, in here. 200 spells, I should say, in this box. It is from Paizo Inc. And before we jump in, let me mention that if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't. And if you do subscribe, ring that notification bell. It'll tell you not only when I upload videos such as this, it'll also inform you when my live stream, The Daily Dope, airs right here on YouTube Monday through Thursday nights. So we are going to be taking a peek at the Arcane Spell Deck for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. This is from Paizo Inc. It is available now in stores. It does carry an MSRP of $29.99. You can get the PDF from Paizo.com. Save a little bit. It is $20.99. But the reality, look at all those cards you're going to be printing up. So I would think for the $9, I'd just go ahead and get the box set. There are 5 decks in total. Let's swing on over to the other camera, and I will start showing you the Arcane Spell Cards here. Do want to mention that the box itself is a much darker red than we saw in that image I just showed you. This is a very, very dark, almost a burgundy or wine color to it, as opposed to the bright red. So just want to mention that because you might be sitting there saying, wow, Jeff, your lighting is awful. And it's like, no, this is really not that bright a red. Anyway, as I mentioned, there are going to be 5 different decks that are available in these spell cards. We've got Arcane, which we're going to look at here. There's also Divine, Focus, Cult. And what's the 5th one? I'm trying to remember the 5th one. It's the it's like the nature magic. Oh, Primal. Duh. So there are 5 different decks. I only have the Arcane spell cards to take a peek at, but the fine folks over at Paizo Inc. were kind enough to send this along to me so that we can kind of take a peek at this. All right, let's open this up. Sorry, it was a little distracted. I'm down here in the Duct Tape Studios, and one of the cats, Pinky. So if you happen to watch the live show, you know you hear from Pinky all the time. She was strolling around here, and it was like, okay, what are you doing? What's going on? So looks like we've got 2 big decks here, and we're going to look through some of these cards. We'll do it really quickly, and it looks like we've got some extra space here because we got a little spacer. So if we have more cards that come out that are Arcane Spell Cards, we'll be able to put them in this box as well. All right, let's use the old hobby knife here to get on in through this. Personally, I am not somebody who uses a bunch of cards and other like props and things like that at my game table, but I could see where this could be extremely useful for not only the players, but for the game master also. Let's get this open as well. It's like we're supposed to take a look at this deck first, and we will. And let's just make sure that everything is in focus as we take a quick peek at this one here, because I would hate to go through the process of taking a look at these cards and it's not in focus. So let's take a quick second here with the good old Sony A6000. All right, so that's what we got here. Do you want to mention I had the kit lens on today because I was shooting another video where I needed to zoom in and out quite a bit. I don't have the prime lens on. So it should be pretty sharp, but not as sharp as it usually is with the prime lens. So it says this deck includes all spells from the Pathfinder core rulebook for the Arcane Spell list. Full text for each spell is provided whenever possible, although some longer or more complex spells have been abbreviated and include a page reference to the full spell description in the core rulebook. Full rules for casting spells begin on page 302 of the core rulebook, which I really, really do dig the second edition of Pathfinder that's out there now. So I started to mention, before I said I was distracted by Pinky, started to mention how I think these would be very, very useful at the game table because I'm going to take a guess we have all the same backing on all of these. Yeah, we do. Okay. So it looks like we're going to maybe have these divided by levels. So these will be very, very useful at the game table because the game master has enough on their plate already, right? They have to sit there and they have to know what's going on with their different NPCs in the adventure. They have to keep track of the different motivations. They're probably keeping track of a bunch of stuff that's going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. So the last thing they need to do is to be sitting there having to track exactly what spells that everybody's got and what they do. So I think this would be really, really nice just to kind of give the game master a little bit of a break. Plus, of course, they can have some of these spell cards behind their game master screen as well. So I think this would be really nice. So if you got a couple of players, maybe they both each have chill touch. So you got the card out kind of maybe between the two of them. So if they need to take a peek at it, they can. So we got Acid Splash, Chill Touch. We are not going to look through every single one of these because there's no artwork or anything. It's just going to tell us what these spells are, but it does tell us that it is a cantrip, for an example, Dancing Lights. It's an evocation, and it is a light spell. It tells us what traditions, casting, what components are utilized to cast. What do you have to do in order to cast, right? Are there vocal elements to it? Do you have to make hand gestures and things like that? It gives us the range, the duration, and then it tells us what does the spell do. And it tells us that you create up to 4 floating lights, no 2 of which are more than 10 feet away. Pretty cool. So we got Dancing Lights, we've got Days. We'll point out the card stock is pretty nice, pretty thick card stock on these. Of course, I would certainly recommend that you sleeve these cards. These are traditional playing card size cards. So even if you want to grab some penny sleeves, which really aren't a penny anymore, but still, you could really add to the life of these cards as well. Mage Hand. So we're still into cantrips. Let's I find it funny how popular this spell actually is. I think that's pretty funny. It's and the funny thing is, it's not just popular in Pathfinder. It is super popular in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons because there is also this spell, very, very similar. But it's kind of funny because if you think about it, the adventurers are always covered in slop and blood and mess and mud and dirt, grime and everything else. So I'm sure it comes in handy. Not just to clean them off, but clean other things off too. So we got Produce Flame, Ray of Frost, Read Aura, Shield, Sigil, Tanglefoot, and Telekinetic Projectile. Now we start getting into the actual level spells. So got some first level spells: Air Bubble, Alarm, Ant Hall, Burning hands. Very nice. Very cool. But the only thing these are really missing is some artwork. But what do you expect? I mean, come on, you couldn't just sit there. Now, this is actually two sides to this card. It does not have the backing there. And I noticed it says it's continued on the back. So charm is actually a fairly detailed spell, amazingly enough, even though it's a first level spell. So color spray, command, create water. These are really nice. I really do like these. And I cannot emphasize enough how useful these will be to game masters, just to kind of release them from the responsibility of always having to know the ins and outs of every spell that their characters, their players have for their characters. I think this would be really, really nice to help kind of break that. So we've got those. Let's take a look a little bit at this other deck here. Some of the higher level spells we've got in here. So kind of taking a peek. We've got dimensional anchors. So we've got 4th level, 5th level, control water. Some conscious suggestion. May I suggest? Chain lightning. Oh, cool spell. Chain lightning's always a cool spell. Repulsion. Oh, you're so repulsive. Reverse gravity. Let's take a look at some of the other. Implosion. Meteor storm. Oh, meteor swarm. There we go. Nice. Resplendent mansion, which is what I live in. Yeah, right. Shape change. Telepathic demand. Weird. Cataclysm. Nice. All told, I gotta be honest, I don't know how many cards there actually are. All I know is it's supposed to be over 200 spells. So we're probably looking somewhere in the vicinity of about 210 would be my guess. So we've got the 2 decks. Got a little instruction card here. Got a little licensing card there. Got all these cards. We got this nice box, which I had. Looks like I'm going to have a hard time getting open again. Now, a little easier this time. So we have all these spell cards in this handy dandy box, which has some room here for probably, I'd say probably about another 75 cards or so would be a good guess. And that is what we find when we take everything from the Pathfinder Arcane Spell Cards box out of the box. Let's swing on over to the other camera and I will wrap up. So as we saw, pretty handy accessory here, in my opinion. And I'm looking at it as from like the game master's perspective, right? I'm not even looking at it from the player's perspective. I think these different spell cards would be very, very handy. Of course, there are 5 decks because you've got the 5 different, they're not really considered schools of magic. They're just kind of types of magic, but really nice. Really do like this. This is pretty cool. So, and as you can see, it is a little bit brighter here with a bunch of light on it, but it's still not as bright red as the picture looked when we were taking a peek before we jumped over to the other camera. All right, that is it for this time out. I like to always mention that if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And of course, if you do subscribe, ring that little notification bell. It will not only inform you when I upload videos like this, it'll also tell you when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights, as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. All right, so that is it for this time out. My gosh, can't even speak English today. So, as I like to close out during this pandemic, please do your best to be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.